Who knew that breaking out of prison could be so easy? Prison officials in Florida admitted today they released a convicted murderer after receiving a forged court order. And if you think that kind of thing could never happen again, it did, with another murderer less than 2 weeks later. A manhunt is now underway this evening in the Orlando area for these two escapees, and we have more on this story from our senior correspondent, John Miller. John?
Well, Scott, this scheme involves someone with knowledge of the law, of legal documents, and the audacity to use the name of a famous judge.
It was a less than daring escape. In fact, on 2 occasions, 11 days apart, the guards walked the killers out the front gate. Joseph Jenkins and Charles Walker, both 34, were serving life sentences at this Florida prison when officials released them. It happened after the prison received these forged documents bearing the signature of Circuit Court Judge Belvin Perry, granting a reduction in the 2 killers' sentences and ordering their immediate release. Judge Perry said the scheme was low-tech, but clever.
So if you have some fundamental knowledge, not a great deal of knowledge, but some fundamental knowledge concerning a computer system, it is easy to go on and lift that signature and affix it on something else.
In fact, Judge Perry's signature may be the easiest to find in Florida. As the presiding judge in the Casey Anthony murder case, his signature appears on dozens of court orders posted on the web. But Judge Perry suspects there may be more at play here.
It doesn't take a Rhodes Scholar to realize that they had some outside help. And hopefully the authorities will determine who that outside help was.
Misty Cash is a spokesperson for the Florida Department of Corrections.
We initiated our typical procedure for an inmate release. The department followed our procedures and protocols to the letter. So in this instance, the department didn't do anything wrong.
And in fact, the only way that authorities discovered the wrongful release of these 2 murders was following those very procedures. They notified the victims' families that they had given them early release, and the victims' families called the prosecutors and said, "How did this happen?" They called the police, and then, of course, they unearthed this scam.
But the question becomes, John, they're just finding out about these men being released. Have others been released in Florida using the same scam?
Well, so far the answer is almost yes. This spring, there was another inmate named Jeffrey Forbes doing time for the attempted murder of a police officer who had dummied up a similar forged order and was about to get out when a detective checking the database for another case stumbled across it. So between these cases and that case, they're now scrubbing all the files because they are sure that these are not the only incidents.
John, thanks very much.